Evans Chebet was expected to win, but Sharon Lokedi may have just surprised us. In today's video, we'll talk about how Chebet completed the Boston NYC double and how Sharon won in her debut. We'll also talk about how Lokedi was not tested before her shock victory and why that might cause some problems. So make sure to stay until the end of the video to learn about all of it. First up, Evans Chebet completes the Boston NYC double. Evans Chebet won the NYC Marathon men's race a few weeks ago. This victory added to his triumph at the Boston Marathon in early 2022. On the other hand, Sharon Lokedi won the women's race. This pair of Kenyan runners made a massive splash in their Big Apple debuts. The 34-year-old Chebet finished his marathon in just 2 hours, 8 minutes and 41 seconds. And if that doesn't sound too impressive, wait till you hear this. He was 13 seconds quicker than the bloke who finished second. And not that many folks care about who was third, but Abdi Nageeye from the Netherlands was third with 2 hours, 10 minutes and 31 seconds. According to Evans, the Boston Marathon is actually a lot more difficult than New York, and that's exactly why he had such a good time in NYC, since he felt extremely prepped.
Here we go, Chebet just digging deep, gritting his teeth.
Although the results might have been different if this one particular unlucky moment didn't happen, Daniel Do Nascimento, who had been leading the whole thing, collapsed just 21 miles in. He was doing so well that in the first half of the race, he was 2 minutes ahead of the course record. He led pretty much for the 15 miles before he started to slow. Do Nascimento collapsed right before Manhattan and had to be quickly attended to by medical professionals. Just a few miles before this incident, he had taken a quick 20-second break and he even stopped to walk briefly. Fortunately for everyone, Daniel is all okay, but that did pave the path for Chebet to win. Moving on, Chebet's no angel. Evans saw Daniel on the ground, and at that moment, Evans claimed that he felt bad for him, but he didn't stop for him. He continued running. Chebet even stated that Do Nascimento knew he was going at a really high pace while it was hot and humid, so he knew this would happen eventually. The 34-year-old pulled away from the rest of the pack, trying to catch up to Daniel. As they headed over the bridge into Manhattan, Do Nascimento collapsed. After that, Evans Chebet took the lead, and he didn't have to worry about anyone else for the rest of the marathon. We don't know about you all folks, but we feel he should have stopped for a bit to help Daniel out. Anyway, this victory means that it's now been 13 years since an American man won the race. America's last hope, Galen Rupp, was in the chase, no doubt about that, but then he had to withdraw right before the 19-mile mark. He couldn't keep up. 14th time the charm, we guess? Up next, Sharon Lokedi wins in her debut. Lokedi finished her first ever marathon. She did it in 2 hours, 23 minutes and 23 seconds. She was just slightly ahead of Lona Chemtai Salpeter, the runner from Israel. When talking about her win, she stated that she was extremely happy to win. For real, folks, she couldn't stop laughing. Sharon claimed that she was really excited. Lokedi also showed gratitude, thanking the people for the cheers. Oh, and she stated that the course was awesome. All in all, she was ecstatic about her win. That's exactly the kind of reaction we expect to see from someone who won on their debut. The 28-year-old Kenyan was in a tight race before she managed to pull away from the Israeli runner. Just in the final two timeless, she was able to widen the gap to 7 seconds and finish about 50 seconds off from the course record. Talking about it some more, she stated, "I didn't expect to win. I expected to run well. It was a good outcome and I'm really excited." Next up, the men's wheelchair races. Just an hour earlier, the men's and women's wheelchair races ended with course records being broken. For the 5th time, the Swiss Marcel Hug won the men's wheelchair race, and while he was at it, he also shattered the course record and tied with Kurt Fearnley for most victories. Hug finished the course that goes through all the boroughs of New York, and he did it in 1 hour, 25 minutes, 26 seconds. The previous record was set all the way back in 2006 by Fearnley of Australia. When talking about his win, Hug gave some credit to the conditions. He stated that the conditions were awesome, and that assisted him greatly. There was also a tailwind in the first half. When talking about the fact that he literally broke a record, he stated that he didn't care. Apparently his only goal was to go as fast as he could, and that's all. Alright folks, go ahead and pause this video for a second. Just guess how much Hug won for besting the course record. $3,000? Nope, he won a whopping $50,000. And if all that wasn't enough, he crossed the finish line over 2 minutes ahead of Mr. Number 2, Daniel Romanchuk.
I just want to say thank you to all who made this possible.
Let's talk about the women's wheelchair race. Yep, you guessed it right, folks. Another course record was broken here. Susanna Scaroni finished the race in 1 hour, 42 minutes and 43 seconds. This record is 21 seconds faster than the previous one, so there's no way it's going to be broken anytime soon. The 31-year-old Illinois native pulled away from the rest of the pack, and she also ended up getting bonus money as expected. She beat the runner-up by a whopping 2.5 minutes, and last year's winner Madison finished third. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, enough? Scaroni just won the Chicago Marathon a month before she won this one. Finally, it wasn't easy. We don't know how these runners achieved what they did. Really, it was an unreasonably hot day. The temperatures were well into the 70s, making this the warmest race since 1986 when it was moved to November. However, the organizers did ensure that there was plenty of water, bananas, and energy gels available. And yes, it was a tough day, but that didn't stop some celebrities from showing up. Ashton Kutcher and Chelsea Clinton were both running, and they were doing so for charity. NYC Marathon winner Sharon Lokedi was not tested before her shock victory. With that out of the way, folks, let's talk about something a little bit more controversial. First off, Sharon wasn't tested. So, this is awkward. Running officials failed to test the NYC Marathon winner Sharon Lokedi before her race. As we mentioned, she won her debut in just 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 23 seconds. But could that be because she was getting some help from performance-enhancing drugs? The head of the Athletics Integrity Unit, also known as the AIU, confirmed that she hadn't been tested. But we wouldn't worry about it too much, because there's absolutely nothing to suggest that she violated any rules. There's absolutely no suspicious behavior that makes us feel she broke the anti-doping laws. And while her performance was quite impressive, it wasn't exactly out of this world awesome. We're not saying it wasn't awesome, we're just saying it's not performance-enhancing drugs level awesome. This year around, only the top 80 athletes were tested, 40 men and 40 women. That's all. Lokedi was just outside the group. She ranked 47th, hence she wasn't tested as part of the program. Oh, and to make matters worse, it turns out that Sharon hasn't been tested since June of last year, and neither was she forced to undergo further testing before New York. The marathon's organizers did submit her name to the AIU, so we don't really know what happened and who's to blame. But the point is, the marathon's organization isn't at fault, because once the submission was made, it was up to the AIU to get her tested. Finishing up, they finally tested her. Immediately after the race, Sharon was subjected to testing. Immediately after. At least that's what the New York Roadrunner stated. But folks, there's a problem with that. The problem is, in-competition testing isn't really that effective. Athletes can flush out substances from their systems, given that they know which substances they'll be tested for. The registered testing program, on the other hand, is a lot more rigorous. Athletes have to provide a location for every hour of the day for random testing. So to solve this problem, the AIU spokesperson has stated that in 2023, the pool of folks that'll be tested will expand to 300. Foreign athletes aren't really answerable to the United States Anti-Doping Agency. Instead, this responsibility falls to their country. In Lokedi's case, that would be Kenya. As well, Kenya has a poor track record of testing its athletes. This is a little problematic because the USADA has tested Lokedi twice this year. However, the woman who broke the American women's record in the marathon at the start of the year, Kira D'Amato, was tested 11 times, and Emily Sisson, an American runner, was tested 10 times. We just hope there wasn't any foul play and that Sharon's win was all genuine. Anyway, that's a wrap for this video. Do you folks think Sharon Lokedi used illegal substances to secure this win? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.